Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Okay lang po. Okay lang po mag-snacks para hindi ako masyado matense. Huwag niyo po ako intindihin. Joke. So, we're from the Unilab Foundation and we're happy po that you have extended your invitation to us and allow us to share this stage and share with you what we're doing so far at the foundation.
Unilab Foundation is the corporate foundation of United Laboratories Incorporated that aims to create an enabling environment where all resources and meaningful engagements come together to achieve long-term development outcomes in the areas of education, mental health, policy advocacy, and youth engagement, all strategically designed to make a lasting impact for a healthier and future-ready Philippines. Through innovation and bayanihan with the goal in mind that every individual is healthy in body, mind, heart, and spirit, Unilab Foundation implements its core programs focusing on STEM education, connecting it to the future of work, mental health and well-being, health policy, and youth empowerment. By contributing to the enhancement of quality STEM education, we inspire our youth to delve into STEM fields, ultimately increasing the number of individuals capable of innovating new ideas and of responding to the challenges of the future of work. Through Heads Up PH, we are committed to safeguarding mental health and promoting the well-being of our learners. On March 20, 2024, the Unilab Center for Health Policy, a new initiative of the Unilab Foundation, was launched. It aims to provide avenue for stakeholders in government and the private sector to better understand health policies and implementation arrangements and for them to engage in a fruitful, solutions-focused dialogue with the end in view of delivering better health services, particularly to the most vulnerable. Project Kaakbay is the Unilab Foundation's youth engagement program that aims to empower the younger generation to serve as community health volunteers and become part of the reliable support system, especially in the promotion of preventive interventions within their communities. In addition to our core programs, a unique feature of the foundation is our ability to scale up interventions to reach more beneficiaries through the transformation of matured programs into independent organizations. Unilab Foundation engages on special projects that align with our mission and contribute to empowering individuals economically. The Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance is a U.S.-funded groundbreaking initiative aimed at equipping our workforce with digital or AI skills, critical thinking, and problem-solving abilities, among others, tailored to address the requirements of Industry 4.0 and the rapidly evolving landscape of the future job market. The Alay Kapwa Community Schooling Project, in partnership with Caritas Philippines, is specifically designed for out-of-school youth to provide them with training in the same high-demand fields covered by the Advanced Manufacturing Alliance. By focusing on empowering our less fortunate brothers and sisters with practical skills, we aim to help them secure employment and build sustainable careers, breaking the cycle of poverty. The Health Sector Skills Council, or HSSC, is another noteworthy project funded by the Australian government through the Philippine Business for Education. This project aims to explore the feasibility of establishing a Health Sector Skills Council in the Philippines, composed of medical and health professionals to support the human resource development pillar of universal health care. Through these programs, we hope to fulfill our mission of making a lasting impact. Our DNA is anchored on systemic change, sustaining alliances for collective impact, and maximizing our reach through strategic partnerships and resource mobilization that resonate with the people and communities we serve. Together, let us build a healthier and future-ready Philippines.
Again, good morning everyone. No? So full disclosure po, disclaimer, the gentleman before me is a hard act to follow. But please, extend your grace to us and let us share what we do at the Unilab Foundation. So as we have presented, our mission is to contribute in building a healthier and future-ready Philippines. So to introduce Unilab Foundation, we're a corporate foundation, as you may have known, no? The largest Filipino-owned pharmaceutical company, United Laboratories Incorporated. And at the Unilab Foundation, our aim is to achieve long-term development outcomes in the areas we think matters. Our mandate po from our bosses is to do good. Therefore, we want to make change. We want to deliver results in the areas of education, mental health, policy advocacy, and youth engagement. So true to our core value of Bayanihan, Unilab Foundation partners with like-minded organizations, as we have showcased in our video, and individuals for concerted effort to fulfill our mission towards a healthier and future-ready Philippines through our core programs on STEM education, connecting it to future of work, mental health and well-being, health policy, and youth empowerment. So at Unilab Foundation po, the focus of our work is on education and skilling, mental health, youth engagement, and policy work. So for our first program, it's called Heads Up PH. So Heads Up PH po is the mental health pillar or program of Unilab Foundation. Our Heads Up PH and mental health program, we hope to improve the mental health and well-being of young Filipinos, especially our learners. So allow me to share some facts. Why mental health? So in your screen, what we know so far, especially during the COVID pandemic, the mental health state, not just in the Philippines but globally, was exacerbated by our experience during the pandemic. In our Philippine context, we recognize that we face significant shortage in our mental health professionals. The healthcare services is expensive, and of course, we recognize, maybe because of culture, the stigma is strong. It's still prevalent, and therefore hampers any interventions available in our community. Reports that we have gathered in 2021, mental health crisis affect not just the general population, but more so our Filipino youth and our learners. Hence, at the Unilab Foundation, we offer intervention. So what we do po at the foundation, in aiming to improve the mental health and well-being of our learners, imagine in a school setting, what we're doing right now is really train our teachers and guidance counselors and other school personnel po who are closely dealing with our learners. Why them? Because we want them, we consider them as gatekeepers. They engage with our students on a daily basis. So after several training, we hope to build partnerships with like-minded organizations such as mental health professional organizations, the Philippine Guidance and Counseling Association, Psychology Association of the Philippines, and others to work with us and elevate the work on mental health. Through this training, we hope that advocacy will scale up and be felt, not just in the school setting, but also in our communities. So what we're doing is we adopted an integrated approach po to mental health. So our training is focused on building the capacity of our teachers, guidance counselors, and school personnel from screening. That's our screening tool po sa topmost circle. And then specialized intervention. So right, that's where yung mga na-identify natin na learners at risk, they get to access preventive activities or measures. And of course, for our students or young Filipinos who are assessed to be at risk, high risk in mental health, especially suicide ideation, we have what we call referral treatment. So it's really an end-to-end intervention po on mental health from screening, prevention, to referral. So we're happy to share. Our video po was shown earlier. We have a special program, it's called Race Against Suicide. So starting 2022 po, we've been rolling out through PGCA, the Department of Education, and this year with the CHED, we're training teachers how to spot potential risks and how to manage risks and refer them. So our race against suicide has allowed us to reach 200 plus trainers. To this day po, we have trained 5,084 gatekeepers. When we say gatekeepers po, these are the teachers, the guidance counselors, and other school personnel in school. In the recent League of Corporate Foundation ceremony po for Corporate Social Responsibility Award and Health category, our race against suicide was deemed as the 2024 CSR Award by our colleagues in the League of Corporate Foundation. Yung backstory po ng race against suicide, after years of training, our FGD and surveys showed us that it helped our teachers po to better screen our learners, to be able to come up with prevention, and was able to actually identify who are at risk. Our campaign po on mental health, especially against suicide, continues. Our work continues po, and our rolling out or our scale-up work in the implementation is ongoing. So what inspires our work? The testimonies that we got from our teachers, how it helps them in their work. So this is just sharing with you a testimonial from one of our guidance counselor in a partner school, how the race against suicide has helped them in really helping their students as well, dealing with mental health, and elevate the discussion of mental health and well-being in their school. Other core program of UNILAB Foundation is the UNILAB Center for Health Policy. This is a new initiative po. This is really recognizing that the government sector and the private sector has to work together po to really to engage into what we call collaborative governance in pursuing health-related policies. So on March 20, 2024 po, UNILAB Center for Health Policy was launched. So it's really creating an avenue for multi-stakeholder engagement from the government, the health sector, and the private sector to really come together and better understand health policies and implementation, and for them to engage in fruitful solutions, dialogue with the end in view of delivering better health services, particularly po to the most vulnerable. So UCHP recognizes that improving the health status, particularly po of the marginalized Filipino, remains to be a challenge. So our hope with UCHP is that through this effort, inequitable access, health services, high out-of-pocket expenses, and challenges in human resources and healthcare facilities would become the cornerstones of these dialogues and are responded to. Our third program focus on harnessing the power of the youth as community volunteer po. So our youth arm po, it's called Project Kakbay. It recognizes naman how youth can be tapped in building healthier communities. So as you can see in the photo, we envision youth po, mga kabataang nagpapakita ng husay sa bawat kilos, malasakit at nagtataguyod ng bayanihan para sa kabuuang kalusugan ng bayan. So sila po ang tinatawag nating kaakbay o kabataan para sa kalusugan ng bayan. Project Kakbay po is a community and school-based led movement by the youth. So what we do po with our youth is that we equip them with practical skills in health, life skills, leadership and problem solving so that they can positively contribute and become active members of their communities. As community health volunteers, ang pangarap po namin is para sa ating mga kabataan to be actively participating and engaging with their local government units, their communities, and in their school settings in the promotion of health-related activities. So to this effect po, we see our youth volunteers as beacon of hope who serve as champions for their colleagues. So we rally them, not just to become leaders, but also become champions of causes that matter to their communities. Project Kakbay is still in a pilot implementation, but we're happy to share po. While we are in the implementation phase, we're happy to share that to this day, we are nurturing the engagement of 1,000 plus youth in our communities and support them in designing and implementing their health-based projects in their communities. We train our youth to work with their local partners in the implementation and scaling of their work. And by the end of our implementation, we hope to see our efforts to contribute to the achievement of health outcomes, whether in school or in their communities. Another efforts that the UNILAV Foundation is doing, we scale our work and serve other sectors as well. So we support other independent programs that serve other segments in our community. One is on the promotion of STEM education through teacher training, module development, and learner engagement activities. Second, we continue to support the aspirations of persons with disabilities through training and employment opportunities that will allow them to fully realize their self-agency. So our partner organization here is Project Inclusion Network. The third independent organization that we support is PYDN, which create platforms for leadership skills development among the youth, especially in taking on more serious roles in their various sectors and raising the voice of the youth, especially in policy work. So the next slides, it was also shown po, I'll quickly run through, focuses on our 3 projects on skilling and upskilling. The first one is the Advanced Manufacturing Workforce Development Alliance with USAID. It's really equipping our workforce of today with digital or advanced skills on critical thinking and problem solving, tailored to address the requirements of Industry 4.0 and the rapidly evolving landscape of the future job market. So this effort po aims to prepare yung current workforce po natin to be responsive to the demands of the emerging employment landscape. Second, in partnership with Caritas, our second project focused on updating the skills on workforce is the Alay Kapwa Community Schooling Project. We have concluded for our first batch. In fact, we have the initial graduates na. And this is specifically designed to assist our out-of-school youth to provide them with training in the same high-skill demands covered by the AMDEV and help them sustain or secure employment so they can also maximize their potential as contributing individual of their communities. Still on health, recognizing the gap in the healthcare services manpower, we also work with the Australian government in terms of looking at the feasibility of establishing a healthcare sector skill council. So the sector council, composed of medical and health professionals, support the human resource development pillar of the universal healthcare and address the gaps in our workforce, such as the doctors and nurses. So as you can see po, our focus really at the UNILAV Foundation are on education and skilling, mental health, youth engagement, and policy work. So this is the snapshot po, no? To conclude, at the UNILAV Foundation, we recognize the fulfillment of our mission to achieve healthier and future-ready Philippines. It needs to be fueled by our Bayanihan spirit, a Filipino core value that inspires shared dreams, collective actions, and stand the test of times. Thus, our programs echo the emerging needs to which we hope to respond to and contribute to, especially in STEM education and upskilling efforts linked to employment, ensuring the mental health and well-being of our learners, policy work, and activating the valuable contributions of our youth. To this effect, we endeavor to share and communicate our stories and represent the milestones and changes experienced by the people and communities we serve. Sharing po the focus of this convention. Joining me today is our communications team. We want to learn with you on how we can be better at communicating our work in all the platforms available. Staying true po to the focus of this convention, just like you, we want to be genuine in our efforts, staying true to our advocacy and our work, and therefore, like you, we want to be authentic influencers as well. So, again, we encourage you, work with us, partner with us, and maybe in your communities, and let's build a healthier and future-ready Philippines. Maraming salamat po for having Unilab Foundation.
Thank you, Miss Joanne Amada Orieta from Unilab Foundation. Now to lead the panel Pixels of Progress, Bridging Communities of Truth and Fighting Disinformation, a member of the Board of Directors of St. Francis de Sales Broadcasting Corporation and the Spiritual Director of the Social Communications of the Ministry for the Youth of the Archdiocese of Lipa, let us call on Reverend Father Paul Hermano.
Hey! Yan, isa po muna uling. Amen! Hey! Okay, good morning everyone. So ngayon po umaga, we'll have our panel discussion entitled Pixels of Progress. So allow me to introduce myself first. I am Reverend Father Paul Hermano, no, sounding smart yung atin pong pagkaka-introduce kanina. I'm a simple paring Batanggenyo. Ang tawag ay paring Alaay, no? Paring Alaay. Ako po ay parochial vicar sa Minor Basilica and Parish of St. Martin of Tours sa makasaysayan pong bayan ng Taal. And I am currently working and dealing with the young people of the Archdiocese and also working hand in hand with the social communications of the Archdiocese of Lipa. So ngayon pong umaga, in our panel discussion entitled Pixels of Progress, no, with the sub-theme Bridging Communities of Truth and Fighting Disinformation. This is very relevant, no? We've been discussing about AI, no, for 3 days already. No, 3 araw na po natin pinag-uusapan something about artificial intelligence. How could something artificial be authentic? How can we be in the Catholic Church, in the media, no, na nagdi-deal with something artificial, maging authentic? How can we be authentic influencers? Today, the internet has been used to spread false claims about someone's life story, points of view, and even historical events. These leads us to a significant dilemma. Which sources can we trust to inform us about what we should distrust? AI-driven bots and algorithms manipulate platforms by disseminating false information, amplifying messages, and shaping echo chambers that reinforce misleading narratives. In this session, for this morning, we highlight the essentials in spotting information disorder and the impact of bringing communities together to counter the belief system brought about by fake news. The convergence of AI and disinformation is a pivotal and dynamic subject as artificial intelligence plays a dual role in amplifying disinformation and providing avenues for its mitigation. So for this morning, no, I am no expert in this field. I'm just an advocate, no? Hilig lang, uwido lang, no? Laking kalsada lang sa SOCOM and sa youth ministry. Pero gayon pa man, we have invited relevant persons na talagang expert, no, in this kind of field. So, allow me to call on the rest of the panels, no, para po mag-stir ng atin pong magiging discussion ngayong umaga. First of all, we would like to call on the co-founder and COO of DashLabs.ai, healthcare softwares for MSMEs. So ano po ito? These are micro, small and medium enterprises. Founding chair, National Olympiad in Informatics, the former head of HR and IT of Shopee. Let us give a round of applause to Sir Martin Gomez. Second, we have the EWTN International Marketing Manager for Asia Pacific, Australia, and New Zealand. None other than, kilala po natin lahat, Sir Edwin Lopez. Third, we have the Catholic Bishops Conference of the Philippines, CBCP Media Director, our dear friend, Monsignor Pepe Quitorio III. Palakpakan naman po natin. And last but not the least, we have the Social Media Manager and Website Manager of the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, Information Officer 3 in the Office of the Undersecretary for Infrastructure Management, Cybersecurity, and Upskilling. From the DICT of the Philippine Government, we have Miss Christine Apple B. Pre. Palakpakan naman po natin. So we have completed our moderators for this morning, no, for our panel discussion. No? So ngayon po, we would like to hear from each one of them. So first, we would like to hear the stand of Sir Martin Gomez regarding disinformation. Alam po ninyo, no, ngayon, ito ay talamak na, no? Disinformation, misinformation, and fake news. So what is your experience and how do you say something about this, Sir Martin?
Thank you so much, Father, for that very, very kind and generous introduction. Before anything else, I'd like to give an introduction on what Dash Labs AI is and how we started. We started as a volunteer organization called Dashboard Philippines, where we mapped out all the open establishments during the onset of the pandemic. And we essentially worked with the DICT as well to do this mapping, as well as it led to the National COVID-19 Dashboard. And it progressed towards the digitization of the COVID-19 testing and vaccinations of the Philippine Red Cross. So we were able to cater to millions of patients across the country, as well as a lot of the different stakeholders. And it evolved into a startup called Dash Labs AI, where we essentially got the learnings from there and created into an industry public-private partnership to be able to address more concerns, such as right now OFW seafarers that are going abroad. I also am consulting for the Pastoral Communications, Technologies and Research team of the Diocese of Caloocan. So that said, my take on this, on addressing or combating disinformation is that you cannot address what you don't know, which is why I like the positioning of this panel in the program, because in the past few days, especially yesterday, was content heavy, especially in the talk of Doc Ligot, where we were able to make himay or do a deep dive into the different techniques and into the different affordances and the availabilities of what AI offers today. So that said, I'd like to posit that we use the same and even better techniques to combat disinformation. We also need better AI governance. What does that mean? We need robust safeguards. We need transparency measures, accountability frameworks, and being able to do this with a whole community approach. That means that every sector is important. Each of us would have a role. So therefore, in order for us to fuel this, at the very underlying base, education is key. And focus on media literacy and skills is super important, because this information is nothing new. It's something from the ancient times, but it's just propelled now at breakneck speed because of AI. So by having critical skills at hand and education, we're able to combat it. And using the same tools, we're able to address it at the same or even better speed. Thank you.
I like what you said, no, Sir Martin. We cannot address something that we do not know. That's why we've been studying this since day one. We've been talking about AI, no, because this is the needs of the time. No, we need to address this. That's why we've been having several discussions regarding this and how do we address this. Okay, thank you with that, Sir
Thank you,
Martin.
Father.
So we'd like to hear a word from Monsignor Pepe.
Thank you. I've been listening all the talks since Monday. And you see, I, like you and me, maybe, I don't know with you, I'm sure with myself, sa mga talks ni Dr. Peter at saka kahapon ni Doc Ligot, you know, yung aking mga biases against artificial intelligence started falling down because these two speakers told us how beautiful really is, although still in the infant stage. Batang-bata talaga ang AI, no? So, mahirap pa talaga. Sinabi mo, mahirap magkaroon ng bias na hindi mo kilala. Hindi mo pa alam kasi batang-bata pa sila. But then Dr. Peter said, you know, you have to go back down to values because doon talaga nag-uumpisa. It's not about technology, it's about content. Doon naman kay Doc Ligot, sinabi niya kahapon na the beautiful things that can be done, even in terms of healthcare, agriculture, infrastructure, name it, you have it, and even faith. We can harness artificial intelligence. But you know what? I am in the business of news writing. But the very thing that is destroying the truth, spreading disinformation, and twisting values is not AI yet. You know what is that? It is delivered every day from your doorstep to your bedroom, every day in millions. And you know what is that? News. It is news. Dito nang gagaling, nagtataka po tayo dahil bakit nanalo si ano? Bakit nanalo siya? Bakit yung senador ito, hindi si Jokdo? Bakit nagpresidente ito? It's not coming from AI. It's coming from the massification of public opinion na nanggagaling sa pinapaniwalaan na kasinungalingan ng balita. News today has been democratized. There are no more gatekeepers. Wala na mga editors. Vlog lang ako ng vlog. And you know, be very careful with that because ang ginagawa natin, habulan ng habulan, parami ng parami. Little do we know that we are feeding the appetite of the crowd, parami, millions of millions, no? The appetite for the sensational, the appetite for the odd, the appetite for this and that. Yung mga tanda dito, you remember, in the 70s, during martial law, we were fed with the same thing during the Nora Vilma Quarrel na akala namin yun na yun ang buhay. But there is so much to life than this. And I believe if we cannot even influence public opinion, our evangelization is not hitting the point. Kaya magtataka kayo, bakit ganito ang politiko? For me, the best indicator that we are evangelizing is we are able to influence decisions that comes from demassified public opinion.
Yes, truly, Monsignor Pepe, AI is at the infancy stage. But as early as it is in the infancy stage, kailangan po natin itong asikasuhin, kailangan nating pagtuunan ng pansin. No, it can grow older, no, at baka sa kanyang pagtanda, magkaroon ng masamang epekto. Thank you, Monsignor Pepe. So let's hear from Ms. Apple.
Thank you, Father. And first, would like to thank you for the introduction. And I am here representing the ICT Undersecretary Jeffrey E&D, Undersecretary for Infrastructure Management, Cybersecurity, and Upskilling. And actually, earlier when we were informed about the opening statement, I asked him if he can share something, and then we just, mix the answer. So, the ICT acknowledges the dual nature of AI, both a tool and also a transformative force in society. It can be wielded for positive and negative purposes. But AI is a tool, and as any other tool, it can be used for good and evil. So let us be a responsible online user.
So we were talking a while ago with Ms. Apple that the Philippine government really plays an important role in this AI. No? They had all the tools, they had all the means. No? Kasi sa mga tao, maaaring iniisip o sinisisi natin ng gobyerno with the different things that are happening in the country. Gaya ng sinasabi ni Monsignor Pepe kanina, bakit itong nanalo, bakit itong nakaupo. No? With the technology that we have, we keep on blaming the government with what is happening. Thank you, Ms. Apple. So we have Sir Edwin.
Good morning. I'm always excited to be here, especially pag convention, dahil parang alumni homecoming, reunion parating, no? So again, good morning. Naalala ko yung sinabi ni former President Ronald Reagan, no? And I think it could very well serve as a guide for us today amidst fake news, misinformation, disinformation. Sabi niya, trust but validate. Magtiwala ka, pero i-validate mo. No? Tinatanong ako ng misis ko, sabi niya, bakit ka pa nagtuturo? No? You're in charge of a very large area, ba't nagtuturo ka pa rin ng pastoral com sa San Carlos, sa Don Bosco? Sabi ko sa kanya, in a manner na maintindihan niya, dalawa kasi ang tinitignan natin dito. Yung Indian at saka yung pana. Kadalasan, ang ating binabatikos yung pana. Baka naman mas magandang hubugin natin yung Indian. Kasi yung magtitiwala, yung magva-validate, yung nabubudol, yung nai-scam, yung Indian. Trust and validate.
Thank you, Sir Edwin. No, naalala ko po yan, no, Indiang pana. Kakana-kana. No, ito po ay kinalakhan natin. No, bata pa po ako, naririnig ko na to. Indiang pana. But then, this is media. No? May mga pagkakataon na we only zoom in to one particular detail. No, that the wider horizon, the reality is always being left out. No? Kung nakikita lang natin, minsan kung anong mali, yun lang ang ating na-highlight o kung ano yung hindi tama. So for this morning, we would try to address how do we bridge communities, how do we find truth, and how do we combat misinformation. So before starting our discussion, before steering our discussion for this morning, ano nga ba yung pagkakaiba ng misinformation and disinformation, no? Maaring nakikita natin ito sa Facebook, sa social media. At kanina, I'm trying to browse over. Ano nga ba ang pagkakaiba ng misinformation and disinformation? Sabi po dito, misinformation is false or inaccurate information that is spread without the intent to deceive. Hindi sinasadya. Pero, nagkamali, naloko, o mali yung impormasyon. And secondly, what is disinformation? Disinformation is deliberately false or misleading information spread with the intent to deceive or manipulate others. Sinadya, ginusto mong lokohin. And therefore, fake news then enters the scene. So with that, no, yan po ang ating magiging simulain, no, para po sa atin pong magiging talakayan ngayong umaga. So our first question for our panelists for this morning. Number 1, how can we fight misinformation and disinformation in an era where AI blurs the line between fake and real? So who'd like to go first? Okay, Monsignor Pepe?
Okay, we have been cracking our heads how to do this. It's everybody's problem, you know. Hindi lang tayo. But I have to go down into data, into facts. So ang ginawa po namin, gusto ko yung pixels of progress. No? Mamaya I will go to that siguro. Pero may ginawa na po ang aming office to fight, to combat disinformation. The first thing really is, because we cannot control the tech guys, but we can control ourselves. So let's begin with ourselves. So ang ginawa namin, we have to put up a fact-checking site. Lahat ng lumalabas na kamalian at sinungalingan, whether it be the wrong information, mali anggulo, lahat yon disinformation. So lalabas po kami ng ganun. So nagtayo po kami ng website, an organization, ang pangalan press1.ph. Press1.ph. If you open it, it's all fact-checking. At salamat sa Diyos, last year, tinanggap po, because disinformation is global. It's not only here in Lipa. It's not only in the Philippines. It's global. So there's an international group, international fact-checking network. Tinanggap po yung Press One as one of the four na sinusuportahan po nila. And the four is Verifiles, Rappler, Minda News, and Press1.ph. So we are working on that. We are working on that. At salamat sa kahit maliit lamang po, kaya nga pixel eh. Pixels are small dots that compose a beautiful graphic in digital technology. So with this, somehow, when we were recognized by international communities, then we are hitting the mark. Kahit hindi siya maraming milyones na mga viewers, because Christ also did not have millions at the start. They did not have one. And then we went into looking into, bakit iba ang sinasabi ng mga survey? Bakit ganito? Bakit ganyan? Ang survey pinapaniwalaan eh. In fact, the trend in elections is being fed with the appetite of surveys. So we said, baka naman pwede tayo magtayo ng survey company. And we did. If you open your puntahan mo nyo yung okirom.ph, this is our fourth quarter, at nakikita ko kung bakit nagkaganyan. Because when we do the survey, we also do the focus group discussions, and we see the reality kung bakit yung tao naniniwala sa di dapat paniwalaan. Walang silbi yung binibigay kong mga retreats at mga homilies. Oo, totoo. Walang silbi. Bigay ako ng homily. Bigay ng retreat. Nagkakandara pa po ako. Naglulupasay. Pero pagdating mo sa public opinion, ibang sinasabi nila. Ibang sinasabi. Bakit? So, ito yung concrete. And then when you go to bridging communities, ito yung inuna namin. Some years back, nagtayo po kami ng Youth Pinoy. This is a community of digital missionaries na ito yung hanap katotohanan. Hindi mo pwedeng patayin yung weeds, sabi nga ng gospel eh. Hayaan mo sila. Pero magtayo ka ng magandang seeds. And it will grow. Create communities of truth. Create communities that will, magnify, cascade the truth. Hayaan mo yung weeds because pagdating ang araw, susunugin lahat yun according to the Bible. So yun po yung ginagawa po namin for now.
Thank you, Monsignor Pepe. Who would like to answer?
Okay, public awareness campaigns, it is very powerful, and I think we can start with that. Katulad po sinabi ni Father, it starts within us. So if we conduct, like mga ganitong klaseng initiatives, so can we tap each other? Pwede niyo po ba i-tap yung katabi niyo? Glad you're here. Glad you're here because itong mga ganitong klaseng initiatives, activities, this is really helpful in terms of being more knowledgeable, especially that we have mentioned na kakastart pa lang ng AI. And in order for us, it's very crucial for us to identify and discern yung mga credible information to fake news. So it's important to spread awareness and conduct initiative events like this.
Thank you, Ms. Apple. Sige po.
Thank you. I really like what Monsignor Pepe mentioned, digital missionaries, right? So I think if I came from a very, I guess, missionary background. No? My basic education was in Xavier, so it was established by Jesuit missionaries that were expelled, right? So I think in the frontiers today, especially in the, sabi nga ni Pope Francis, go to the peripheries, diba? digital space, the digital space is actually, can still be considered a periphery and a frontier at the same time. So that said, if we do have these digital missionaries, I think these people can be tapped to really be the champions and the pioneers to be able to help address this disinformation as well as misinformation in that spread. Okay.
Thank you, Sir Martin. So we'd like to hear from Sir Edwin.
Ika nga ni Monsignor Pepe, yung Indian pa rin eh. Kahit nag-homily na siya, di ba? Wala, hindi umi-epek eh, di ba? Maganda rin yung sinabi ng isang speaker, di ba? It's the values held by the person behind the AI. Pero hindi kalaban talaga ang AI. In fact, it can complement human experience. Maybe, who among you here are familiar with Charlie, the pro-choice chatbot? The people behind Charlie, itong chatbot na to, are people from Planned Parenthood. And they advocate abortion. Si Charlie, text to text. Magtatanong ka, ang sagot ni Charlie, text din. Pero lahat ng sagot ni Charlie, abortion, contraception. Ano ang pinakamalapit na abortion clinic sa iyo? And tama si Monsi, we've got to respond proactively. And so we develop an AI agent, hindi na chatbot, hindi siya text to text. Pag nag-text ka, may sasagot sa iyo, may muka, may boses. Andiyan ba? Yan. Andito pala. Oh. Andyan. Siya si Maria. Let me introduce to you Maria. Sumasagot si Maria. Meron mga preset questions, pro-life questions. Pag kinlik mo, sasagot yan. Pero you can also ask questions na wala sa prompt. Ang pagkakaiba nito, ang development ni Maria, kasi generative ang AI, ano? Ang inilagay sa kanyang utak, hindi siya lalabas sa isang bagay na labag sa tinuturo ng simbahan. Yun lang siya. So depende rin talaga dun sa nag-develop nung AI agent. Kung ang nag-develop loko-loko, loko-loko rin yung AI agent. Kung sinungaling, sinungaling din. No? Pero kung ilalagay natin, limited lang siya sa official teachings of the church, pro-life issues, based sa stand ng simbahan, yun lang naman ang ilalabas niya. So what we're saying is, we can make use of AI to complement the advancement of the truth. And I think that's a better way of responding to misinformation, disinformation. Meron tayong narrative, yung narrative of truth through the communities of truth na sinasabi ni Monsignor Pepe.
Thank you po, Sir Edwin. So, tunay po, no? Really, AI might blur the difference between truth and false. I have to agree with Monsignor Pepe dahil ako rin po ay pari. No? Ako po ay pari sa Taal Basilica. Every week, we get thousands of pilgrims, no, na pumupunta doon, nakikinig sa iyo. Even kahit linggo-linggo, magsabi ka na ganito, ganyan, ito ang tama, ito ang paniwalaan mo. May mga pagkakataon na papasok sa kanang tenga, lalabas lang din yan sa kaliwa. No? They would still believe in what they would read online, what they will see on Facebook, what they will see on social media, o yung itatanong nila, hey Siri, what is it today? No? Hey Google, what is it today? No? Parang si Maria, parang si Charlie na sinasabi ni Sir Edwin kanina, no? O para sa mga youth ministers na narito, sa mga bata, tinatanong ni Iron Man, hey Jarvis, what do we have today? No, saan ako pupunta? I would like to go here, to go there. No, ganito po tayo. It really blurs the line between truth and false. Na hindi natin pwedeng sisihin, no? Gaya ng sinabi po ni Brother Burns kanina, yung kanyang crooked na paniniwala nung una, all Catholics will go to hell. No? Hindi naman niya kasalanan yun eh. Pero yun yung kanyang natanggap. No? Kaya po, we have, as evangelizers, we have we have the role to spread what is truth. What is the truth? Okay? So, we would like to remind the audience, so ma'am, everyone, no, pwede po kayong magtanong, you could interrupt, you could interact with us, no? Kung kayo po ay merong sariling ideya, meron din po kayong tanong, and our panelists would glad to answer your question. So we will proceed with the second question. Number 2, can we use AI as a preventive measure against a crisis rather than a tool that causes it? How? And can you cite some examples? Sige po, Sir Martin.
Sige. So I'd like to perhaps double down on the use of AI for good, right? Based on what has been shared already. Personal experience is that without AI, we wouldn't have been able to rapidly address the COVID pandemic during that time. If you remember, a lot of people were getting stuck in the airports for 5 to 6 hours, and then after that, they got shipped to the quarantine sites, and they got stuck there for weeks to months on end, right? Because of the testing period, which would last roughly 1 to 2 weeks, because everything was manual. Because we implemented the AI, we were able to shorten the testing period of the RT-PCR testing to a few hours, and then to less than 1 hour. And because of that, we, of course, because it's healthcare, right? And there's no, there can't be any blur between a positive result or a negative result at the time, right? Because of that, we needed to also add a human factor where the result needed to be quality assured and quality checked by a registered medical technologist and a pathologist, and their license was on the line because they had to sign off on the result. So policies like that can actually be injected into the entire process in order for you to be able to increase the trust in the use of AI for good. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that if you are able to actually, as the panel has said, right? It's garbage in, garbage out. If you have good data and you keep injecting good data into the ecosystem, then it would actually produce good data as well, and good results and good output. Of course, there would be a lot of challenges, such as AI hallucination, which is because it's a result of transformers, right? As discussed in the past few days. It's different from how AI used to be during the Watson period. But right now, if you are able to provide good parameters in order for you to make a stringent approach into how the AI chatbot or whichever tool you produce will actually output, then you'd be able to help demonstrate that this is a tool that can be used for good. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Martin. Would like to answer? Yes po.
Okay. I am 120% in agreement that AI can really, how is that, prevent measures against crisis. But that is theoretical. If I go to empirical data, crisis is, the biggest of crises is actually socio-political. It's not even a crisis of faith, actually. We don't quarrel because we quarrel about communion or doctrines. Our crisis is inflation, socio-political. Our politics is our number 1 crisis. A lot of people cannot eat because of that and are missing opportunities because of that. And you know what? I may have 1 million followers. I have so many social media pages. I have trolls even. Sorry. But if I cannot influence my carpenter to believe that Taliano gold is wrong, it's not true, then I'm a failure. If if I cannot convince our cook in the kitchen that martial law was not golden, useless ang 1 million followers ko. Our ST News has 1 million followers. Useless. I will be like Hamlet was saying, it will be full of sound and fury signifying nothing, or a tinkling cymbal. Because if they cannot go to the real thing, to the real issues, wala yun. Pero I can just be a pixel of truth. If I can build the truth one at a time, spreading, cascading, kahit mabagal na mabagal, kahit sinabi nga kanya words, kahit 15 lang ang manonood sa'yo, okay po yun because you are in the right path. Kahit sipain kayo, okay lang, katotohanan na sinasabi mo. Nungka that you will feed the appetite for the odd, the appetite for the sensational, kasi wala po yun. That's an empty, signifying nothing.
Thank you, Monsignor Pepe. Do you have something, Ms. Apple?
Yes, yes, AI can be used in different scenarios, and also especially in potential crisis. And in DICT, we use AI. We have tools. We have it in our National Operating Center, our NOC, NSOC, Security Operations Center, and we use that to combat threats, to check vulnerabilities, and also to cascade that to different agencies that if ever they have attacks or so it can be used either in a good or a bad way. So it really depends. So as I've mentioned earlier, it depends on how we use it and how responsible we are. So.
Thank you, Ms. Apple. Sir Edwin, do you have something?
I'll pick it up from what Monsi had said, no? I think it all boils down to authenticity. Di ba sabi nga nila, the online generation today would want 3 things. Short content, raw content, unedited. Yung pangatlo, authentic. And nothing can be more authentic than direct human interaction. Si Pope Benedict ang nagsabi niyan eh. There is no substitute to direct human interaction. So babalik ako, yung Indian pa rin eh. Because the AI only complements the direct human experience. Yung authenticity nun. Why am I so passionate about this? Producer din ako eh. I've seen people online who are so effective, so convincing online. But once you meet them in person, they're so acerbic, you would rather not be a Catholic anymore. There is no substitute to direct human encounter. How I experience Paul, how you experience me, would matter more than 1 million likes na sinasabi ni Monsi. So, it also requires the formation, I believe, no, of the user. Of the user. Paano gagawin natin kung chismoso talaga yung user? Paano, di ba? Eh bakit? Ganito, medyo may analogy ko dyan eh, nasa sinihan. Uy, paring Maring Lydia, bakit? Nakita ko si George. Sino? Yung asawa ko? Oo, si George. Nandun siya sa harapan eh. Parang. Imagine tong salitang to. Maraming napatay itong parang eh. Parang si George to eh, may kasamang, ay wag na lang. Di ba pag chismoso ganyan? Ay wag na lang. No? Eh sabihin mo na, may ibang kasama si George, hindi ikaw eh. But how do we form the user? How do we form the user? Kasi merong isang phenomenon ngayon na tinatawag nating echo chamber effect. That people hear what they want to hear. They only hear what they want to hear. Paano? Wala sa AI yun eh. Nandun sa tao. So meron din tayong obligasyon na hubugin yung tao.
Thank you po, Sir Edwin. So napakaganda po ng ating composition of answers from this question that can we really use AI as a preventive measure rather than a tool. Magkakaiba po tayo ng ginagalawang mundo, but we have one goal, one agenda to fight for the truth. No, because there are times, no, it's on the perspective. No, very subjective tayo. Ano yung gusto nating mapakinggan? Ito namang isa, ano yung gusto niyang tanggapin? No, ano yung gustong ibigay nitong isa? Katotohanan baga? O yung kasinungalingan baga? No? So we have different compositions, different fields from the healthcare, from the government, from the Catholic Church, from the church media. No? Kita po natin kung paano ang iba't ibang sektor ng lipunan ay nagbibigay ng iba't ibang pamamaraan, but still one agenda in combating what is the truth. Okay, thank you po for your answers. And we have the next question. How do you snag those people who were captives of fake news back to reality?
I think Monsi, gonna volunteer you. Monsi Pepe has, yung kanyang homely perspective, di ba?
Yes,
Tsaka yung, yung perception niya na pag hindi ko na-convince ang aking karpintero na, maniwala dun sa, dun sa katotohanan, di ba? Paano yun? So, yun nga, how do you convince the people who are closest to you? Kasi sometimes they are the ones who are most victimized, right?
To answer the question, ito rin ang tanong ko sa sarili ko. Since 2016, fake news, disinformation had been proliferating by leaps and bounds hanggang at this moment. Hindi pa tayo naka 1 inch to solve that. It is ironic, you know why? Because we have about 40 Catholic radio stations in the country. And we have about 3,000 parishes, chaplaincies, mission areas in the country. We have about 6,000 Catholic priests and sisters in the country. And how many Catholic schools do we have right now? Baka namang there's something wrong somewhere. Last election, umiiyak kami. Tingnan mo si Bishop Johnny, umiiyak nung last election. Nagsalita yan . Bakit nagkaganito? Bakit nagkaganito? You see, there must be something, How can we snag? We have not. And unless we change our givens, we won't. Pag binuksan mo yung mga social media pages na lahat ng mga parokya, ano makikita mo doon? Homilies, misa ni Father. Ang daming pangangailangan ng bansang Pilipinas ngayon. Ang dami. Nakontento na tayo sa mga, mga payout araw-araw. That are making our people lazy. The inflation is getting higher and higher. Ito yung mga katotohanan na hindi lang pwedeng manikluhod. It has to be in the pixels of truth. Dahan-dahan po tayo. Kaya gusto ko yung pixels of truth, of progress, pero singitan natin ng truth because we can only progress if we are true.
Thank you po, Monsignor Pepe. Sige po, Sir Edwin.
Minsan ang pakiramdam ko parang conundrum siya . Hindi lang si Pope Francis ang nagsabi nito, at least 5 santo at doctors of the church. The truth cannot be forced on people. That's one. Pero may hope. Ito naman ay nanggaling kay Pope John Paul II, Saint Pope John Paul II, sa kanyang Redemptoris Missio. There is hope. Ang ganda ng sinabi niya . That even before we open our mouth, we can trust that the Holy Spirit is already working in the other person. Ganda, no? We can trust that the Holy Spirit is already working in the other person. I think key yung word na authenticity. Di ba there's a saying that goes, to be persuasive, one must be believable. To be believable, one must be credible. To be credible, one must be authentic. To be authentic, one must be vulnerable. Mahirap tanggapin to dahil sinabi nga ni C.S. Lewis, to love at all is to be vulnerable. If I ever hope to journey with Apple, with Monsi and Martin here, I must be able to journey with them with the ear of my heart. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Hindi from my head to your heart, but from my heart to your heart. Meaning, as I listen to your vulnerabilities, as I empathize with you, I can only empathize with you if I'm deeply connected to my own vulnerability. Hanggat hindi ako in touch sa vulnerability ko as I journey with you, it's a head-to-heart journey. Hindi siya sinod. Hindi siya journeying together. And I think in the formation of the user, in the formation of the faithful who are in digital mission, crucial yung heart-to-heart journey. Pero malaking challenge How willing am I to be vulnerable? How courageous am I to connect to my own vulnerability as I journey with you? Then meron siyang tunay na empathy. Hindi empathy kung head to heart. May empathy lang kung basag ako, kaya ramdam ko ang basag mo. And I think dun siya nakaroot sa authenticity yon.
Thank you po, Sir Edwin. Truly, we are like playing tug of war, no, with the truth and false. So push and pull, paulit-ulit lang. At ang pakiramdam ng mga tao, yung mga maliliit, mga magsasaka, as like what Sir Martin said, mga magsasaka, mga karpintero, and what Monsignor Pepo was talking about earlier on, no, yung mga simpleng tao na para bagang ang daling maloko. Abutan mo ng kaunting sobre, no, kasama ng 1 kilo, 2 kilong bigas, may bukbuk pa, ilang pirasong delata, ilang pirasong sardinas, para bagang sa kanila ay ito na yung authentic, no? There is someone, people feel what people feel today, someone is manipulating them. Pero patuloy po rin tayo nagpapadala dito sa agos na ito, no? Patuloy pa rin tayong nadadala ng kasinungalingan ng mundo. So ito po ang ating kailangang i-address. So gaya po ng tanong natin kanina, how do we pull them back in? No? How do we fish them again mula doon sa ilog o sa dagat ng kasinungalingan na nag-e-enjoy silang paglanguyan? And we'd like to thank you for your different points of view and perspectives, no? Kung paano po natin sila mapapabalik sa tama. Next question po tayo. Yan. In identifying, in flagging harmful content on social media and websites, how do you enable faster response times for human moderators? Sige po.
Sige, I guess I'll take this. So right now, companies that enable these AI tools, no? Hindi naman, ano yan a lot of the software that create generative AI output, right, are created by companies and are created by sometimes collectives, right, organizations. So there's an initiative right now to be able to properly tag if something is AI generated or not. So especially for images, for multimedia, if you notice, if you generate images, for example, using Midjourney, using Adobe Firefly, using Microsoft Copilot, or even DALL-E, right? A lot of it would have an AI-generated signature embedded into the file itself. This enables then the social media platforms to be able to process these images and understand that these images have been generated by AI, which is why if you post on Facebook right now, there is actually an option for you to indicate if something is AI generated or not. And it's a dual factor. One is the auto tagging based on the content that is uploaded. The second one is for people who are authentic enough and honest enough to tag something that's AI generated as AI generated. Because how do these platforms actually detect fake news, for example? We have an algorithm called an auto generator, right? Where an auto generator essentially, what it does, it encodes the information and then decodes the information and then compares the decoded information from the encoded information. And from there, it is able to determine if what the content and the original piece of information or data is actually fake or not. So a lot of companies use this already. And if they are able to use that and are able to build up their base, remember, AI is trainings based, right? So based on the training and the learning that they're having, in developing that, then they are able to improve upon the skills at which they are able to flag content. And if they're able to easily flag content, the most obvious ones they can easily already set aside. The more the content that's in the gray area, those are the ones that can be pushed to the human moderators. And because of that, then we can speed up the process in which real and fake and truth and false can be determined. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Martin. Sige po.
In DICT, we have Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERT-PH, wherein it is our designated team to coordinate, collaborate with different government agencies that, like I have mentioned earlier, it is the team who inform them that if they are vulnerable to this attack, or if there is like a virus and all, and we connect to them. We also provide trainings, and we have this dissemination information, a group chat, and also email blast whenever we need to cascade information. And we do conduct incident handling through this team. And we also establishing a CERT team to every government agencies. So we are having an annual, like a conference every year, every October, because that's a cybersecurity awareness month. We do celebrate that here in the Philippines and also in other countries. So our Computer Emergency Response Team, that is also part of our National Cybersecurity Plan, 2023 to 2028, which our President signed that that plan. And with that, it really helps to respond faster, easier, and as one team. It really helps to be coordinated to all agencies.
Thank you, Ms. Apple. So we have Senior Pepe.
I agree with Martin that talagang kayang-kaya ng algorithms ma-flag yung bad content. But you saw how it was presented yesterday by Doc Ligot, no? But because you in algorithm you use words, and mga ganon. So at the surface, you can really flag bad content, images, text, and even sounds. But that is not the biggest, because the biggest content is, the word propaganda, right? Propaganda can never be detected by algorithms. So hirap na hirap ang technology to detect, to flag the worst content that twists the human mind, the human public opinion. Hirap na hirap po yan. Nangangailangan ng mga professionals to do this. Kaya yung sinasabi mo dito, how do we do response for human moderators? We need human moderators. In my case, we hired professional journalists. Kasi alam nila yung anggulo, alam nila yung half-truth. Yung half-truth, hindi kaya ng algorithm po yan. I'm sorry, hindi kaya po yan. So kinakailangan mo ng professional journalist to be able to determine them. Pag hindi mo na-determine them, kaya ngayon, hanggang ngayon, naniniwala pa rin ang aking karpintero si Joel na totoo yung Italiano Gold. Pag hindi mo na-determine yan.
Thank you, Monsignor Pepe. Do you have... Opo. Sige po. So, do we need faster responses? No? Kailangan natin ng mabilisang aksyon dito. AI is fastly growing. Baka dumating tayo sa pagkakataong hindi natin ito makontrol. So do we have the means to control them? Just like what our panelists have answered, no? We have the means, no? Sa government, ginagawa na ito ng paraan. Even the President of the Republic of the Philippines signed something about cyber, no? So, cyber security. No, ginagawa na po natin ito ng paraan. What Monsignor Pepe said, sabi niya ay, we need human combaters, no, para malabanan po natin ito. So, we are ready. We are really ready. And we are supposed to be ready with this dahil ito na yung trend ng lipunan. Dito na nagbabago ang lipunan and tayo sa simbahan, hindi po tayo pwedeng maiwan. Okay, so sa pagkakataon pong ito, we'd like to answer questions from our Zoom participants. No? We'd like to request our technical team. Meron po ng question po sa ating Zoom. Okay, question po from Sister Clotilde, FSP of the Philippines. Question po regarding AI, identity. If humans are behind AI, how would we be able to track down the whereabouts of these humans who are disseminating these values? Siguro, tamang-tama po ito kay Miss Apple, no? Meron ba tayo sa atin pong gobyerno, no? How can we track down the whereabouts of these individuals, no? Who are spreading or disseminating these values?
These values or this information, whenever we receive reports like that, we work together with our law enforcement agencies. They are mandated to do the investigation, the process and all. So we work with NBI, PNP, as they have the tools because as DICT, the one that I mentioned earlier, the CERT, Computer Emergency Response Team, that focuses on government agencies, private sectors, but for individuals, it is focused on the PNP, Anti-Cybercrime Agency. They are handling that. That's their scope. And together with NBI, they do the investigation for that.
Thank you, Ms. Apple. So, tamang-tama po no, sa inyo yung tanong. Kasi alam nyo, sa akin pong karanasan, no, pagka sinabing ipa-NBI mo na agad yan o ipa-blatter mo yan sa police. No? At least we have the tools, no? We have the means, no? We have the agency who could also mingle with other agencies to connect, no, para ma-address po natin itong issue na ito.
And to add, our attached agency, which is CICC, Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, they are the ones really working hand in hand with the law enforcement agencies. They also have the 1326, the hotline for scam, any concerns regarding scam reports, so that's the hotline. And they work together with NBI, PNP, and the PNP Anti-Cybercrime Agency. They're very active. You can go to their Facebook. They have their chat box, their messenger. They have their hotline. So it is really easy to report, and also you can receive your responses right away.
Thank you very much, Ms. Apple. So how about from the audience? Meron po ba tayo from our brothers and sisters, Reverend Fathers, Reverend Sisters? Meron po ba kayong gustong itanong sa atin pong set of panelists? We'd like to hear from you. No? Sayang po yung pagkakataon na naririto sila. So they could easily answer your questions. Meron po ba? You could raise your hand. Yes po. Microphone po from...
Good morning po, moderator, to the panelists. Father Felbert po from Diocese of Virac. Tatanong ko lang po doon sa, nabanggit na po kasi yung tungkol sa mga disinformation disseminators, mga proliferators ng fake news, at isama na natin dito yung mga scammers. Naalala ko po, a few years back, ang government of the Philippines obliged all the Filipinos to register all their SIM cards.
Okay.
Nandito na rin po si Ma'am Apple. Itanong na rin natin kung ano na pong nangyari doon. Thank you po.
Yes, regarding the SIM card registration, the goal is really, of course, to safeguard us from the scammers and all. Even before the text messages that we have received nowadays, di ba po, ako naalala ko, the moment that I graduated, I already received a call from different companies that I haven't applied, pero nakaka-receive na ako ng call. There is ang tawag dito, yung dark web at yung market for that. And may bentahan po talaga ng mga personal data natin. Lalo na nung pandemic, kung saan-saan po natin inilagay ang ating mga contact information. At we don't know kung ano nangyari po from the malls, banks, di ba? We don't know what happened to those papers. And then, these scammers, itong mga cyber criminals na to, hindi po siya actually lahat SIM card eh. There is an equipment. It's a text blast. Actually, na-discuss namin kanina umaga pa. They do it, they have a tool, itong mga cyber criminals na to. At itong mga tools and equipments na to, galing pa po ng ibang bansa. So, yung source nito, yung partners nila to conduct these crimes. So, naka-encode yung mga numbers dun sa software, sa tools na to. They will just do text blast. And it will be sent to our phones. And actually, kanina, before we step to this, itong platform natin, may in-upload kami sa Facebook, wherein na-interview yung aming spokesperson. Kasi after nung nasabi ni President sa SONA na di ba, i-close na yung POGO. Alam niyo po ba, mas nag-lessen yung mga text messages. Kasi nahuli po, if you can see sa mga news naman, ang dami po itong SIM cards. Ang dami po doon na they really do things na i-fake yon yung pag-register. And kasi po yung mga criminals na to, mas updated yung tools kesa sa amin, kesa sa atin. Kasi they have it or from from ibang bansa pa. Hindi ganun kalaki ang budget natin or ng government pa natin kasi hindi pa po ganun lahat ka-open sa mga ganitong klaseng cybersecurity tools kasi napakamahal po talaga compared to other countries na sila sobrang established na yung cybersecurity nila compared sa atin po na nagsa-start pa lang tayo. And that's why, a good thing, our, of course, yung Senate natin, pinapakinggan naman nila yung request for yung request ng budget for this para at least ma-upgrade natin yung tools. Pero dahil nga po yung mga na-mention ko na equipment, ito po yung mga nire-raid ng mga law enforcement agencies natin. Like yung sa POGO na nakita nila talaga, may mga equipments. So, dun po napupunta yung mga, kung bakit tayo nakaka-receive pa rin every now and then ng mga scam messages po. So, scam texts.
Thank you po, Ms. Apple. So, do we have another question? Yeah.
Good morning po. Wilma Baliton from DWRV Radio Veritas, Diocese of Bayambong po. Based on our experience as reporter po, ang dami pong victim po talaga ng scam, tapos po yung mga nagpapakalat po ng mga, may mga, konti lang naman, di masyadong marami. Mga videos po, especially sexual videos. So, talagang tama, Ma'am Apple, yung sinabi niyo po na pumupunta kami sa isang opisina and yet they cannot help us. So, pupunta kami sa PNP, NBI, CIDG, kasi mayroon nga daw pong cybercrime division. Pero laging sinasabi wala nga pong equipment. So, pwede rin ba sa DICT? Saan ba yung tamang agency? Kasi minsan pinagpapasapasahan po yung victim, kawawa po sila eh. Saan ba yung tamang opisina? And how, sabi mo kahit nahuli kayo, nauna yung mga black hackers po siguro. How far are we at the technology upgrading po? Kasi minsan, sinasabi meron na po sa Manila. Bakit sa Biskaya wala pa? Kailan darating sa probinsya yung mga technology po na sinasabi sa amin? Kasi sinasabi, punta kayo sa NTC. Pagpunta ka ng TNTC, kakamot-kamot yung mga kausap namin. Wala pong may sagot sa amin. And dami pong nabibiktima sa amin sa probinsya. Honestly po talaga, kawawa po yung mga taga-bundok. Hanggang ngayon po, may nabibiktim pa rin po yung Tulfo, mga ganon-ganon. Naniniwala pa rin po kami doon sa bundok kasi nga po hindi pa nakakarating yung mga ibang information po. And that is saddening for us kasi kawawa po yung mga kababayan natin. So, kindly, give us an update on that.
Thank you for sharing po. And actually, the ICT po focuses on policies, upskilling, and however, we have the coordinating agencies nga po, or attached agencies. But for reporting talaga and investigation, yun po yung ating mga law enforcement agencies. So first po talaga sa PNP Anti-Cybercrime Group, for individual concerns, mga personal concerns po, ganyan. Then for mga government o mas malakihan naman po, ito po yung CICC at NBI. Malaking help po talaga if we report, kunyari sa mga barangay, or dun sa mismo municipality or LGU kasi meron po kaming coordination with them, meron po kaming regional offices, and I understand naman po kung ano po yung frustrations. Hindi rin naman po lang ako sa government. Siyempre, as an individual, meron rin ako mga kamag-anak, may mga relatives na talagang affected din. That's why kami po sa DICT, we conduct, ang na-mention ko kanina kay Father, we do regional roadshow, caravan, wherein we cater or cascade yung aming mga programs and initiatives and kung kanino dapat mag-report and connect them. And we do connect sa ating mga, sa mga municipalities natin, LGUs, para mas strengthen. Kasi nga po, ang cybersecurity is a collaborative effort. At katulad ng napag-usapan natin earlier, nagsisimula pa lang tayo. If you only knew kung paano namin nasimula yung cybersecurity, sobrang hindi kami ganun hindi ganun ka-welcome. Alam yan ni Sir na we offer that, mga cybersecurity training, ganyan. Tinatanggihan po kami at first, kahit it's for free. Kasi for them, hindi naman kami affected ng cybersecurity, hindi naman kami transact, wala namang ganyan. Pero ngayon na nagsunod-sunod yung hacking, saka lang kami ngayon nilalapitan po para mag-conduct ng mga awareness training. Kaya kanina yung mga sagot ko po, it's more of community engagement, it's more of conducting awareness campaign, digital literacy, upskilling, kasi let's go back to the foundation. If we are equipped, if we are informed about the threats, the risks of sa cybersecurity, mas magiging aware tayo on how we battle and how we succeed, 'di ba? Para hindi tayo maging victim po. So let's work together, and I believe, of course, with your office or organization, if we consolidate everything, do things like this, mas maana po natin, mas surpass natin ito.
Thank you very much, Ms. Apple. No? We might have bombarded Ms. Apple with different sets of questions, not particularly for the Philippine government in addressing this kind of issue. Siguro we could hear the perspective of the Catholic Church siguro, no? As a church, how are we empowering our community to recognize and respond to disinformation effectively?
Siguro yun po, yung sabi po ni Ms. Apple, di ba? Which is why the title of this conference is Authentic Influencers for an Empowered Church. Kasi everyone here, each person here in this conference is an authentic influencer. So you yourselves would have the power and the responsibility in your own communities, right? Whether it be big or small, to be able to actually help educate and enable better digital and media literacy, so as to prevent these cyber crimes from happening, right? Yun, even in our, I don't know, in our household, di ba? We can start from there. So, yeah. Okay po.
Sige po, Monsignor Pepe.
How does the church address this situation? You know what? Disinformation, misinformation, fake news is not the work of franksters or haters. It's not even totally the work of Satan. It has become an industry. It is an industry now. It's a big money. That's why lumalaga na po siya. Sample, the defunct Cambridge Analytica was raking in billions of pesos, and the clients were countries, not individuals. The US elections, Philippine elections, big time. The big picture is like this. Kaya if we are going to address this, we have to change our perspectives, our methods, our systems.
Truly, no, Monsignor Pepe, we have to really change our systems. We have to change the way we think. No, nasa sa atin din naman eh. AI pa rin. How could we authentic or inauthentic in order to influence other people, in order to attract them to what is really true and to what is really in line with the message of the gospel.
Marami po yan. Pero isa lang po, I was going to the authenticity of Edwin. Pero sa ngayon, right now, ang hinahanap pa rin natin yung sensational, yung malakihan, hindi yung pixels. Doon tayo sa pixel, sa maliitan. Kahit barangay lang po ako, I can work a lot if I am authentic.
Thank you very much, Monsignor Pepe. So siguro at this juncture, we'd like to hear some statements, some closing statements for our audience. So ano pong maipapayo nyo? How can we bridge the gap of falsity and truth? And how do we combat this trend of the time of trolls, of fake news, of misinformation, of disinformation on the community where we belong, from the IT department or the healthcare, from the government, from the Catholic Church or the church media? How do we address this? Ano po ang parting words po natin sa atin pong mga kapatid na naririto?
Nako. Okay. I'd like to perhaps echo what Sir mentioned a while ago, right? Trust, yet validate, right? Trust, because again, the heart is, the human heart is the only heart that can communicate with another human heart, right? Which is why even the Sacred Heart of Jesus is a human heart, if you look at it. So, if you are able to do that, if you are able to trust, and then you are able to validate, then you should be able to help in combating disinformation. And by tapping your community, your immediate community, and asking them to, like for example, if you know that something is authentically chismis, right? That's fake. Tell them, tell your friends already that this is fake. Please don't spread. That's number one. Number two is that correct the disinformation. And if you're able to do that, even in small movements, and if that small movement would spread, then that would already be a great way to combat disinformation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Martin.
There is no hard and fast answer to that question. Pero St. Paul has one. If you go to Philippians 1, verse 10, St. Paul says, let's bring all things to Christ. Let us just continue our evangelization, no matter how insignificant it is in the platforms of social media. Continue working, continue witnessing to the gospel. And listen to Pope Francis. Please, let's go together to the peripheries, because conversion is not in Transfiguration of Mount Tabor. Conversion is in Mount Calvary. Thank you.
Thank you, Monsignor Pepe. Ms. Apple.
Yes. Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. It's a collaborative effort. So we must stand united. And with that, let's empower one another. Let's raise awareness on cybersecurity. And also, let's continue to equip ourselves with the technology. And with that, let's be a responsible online user. Let's be web smart. And it can help to create a safer digital environment, and also let's all gear towards a cyber safe Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you very much po. And let's hear from Sir Edwin.
In 2016, the word of the year by Oxford Dictionaries was post-truth. Post-truth, an environment where subjective opinion weighs more than objective facts. And I'd like to say, maganda yung sinabi ni Brother Martin. Where do we start forming critical thinking? Because that's missing today. Common sense is missing today. Imagine today, men can get pregnant is peddled. No? And there are people even supporting it. Critical thinking, common sense, begins at home. Thank you.
Thank you po, Sir Edwin. Palakpakan naman po. Okay, Ms.
Sorry.
Apple has something to add.
Yes, if in case that you're interested to know more about cybersecurity, we do conduct free trainings. Pwede nyo pa kalabitan later so that you would know kung kanino po mag-email. We go to different places like this. And also we conduct mga cybersecurity 101, cyber hygiene, cybersecurity threat landscape. It's a great foundation to know kung ano po yung mga do's and don'ts, and para mas maging ano po tayo, aware of what to do and mas maging web smart po tayo. Yun lang po. Thank you po.
So, with all the questions, so as much as we want to cater more questions, so alam ko, interesado tayong magtanong tungkol sa pamamaraan ng gobyerno. So, Ms. Apple already stated where we can directly ask the agencies of our Philippine government, saan tayo pwedeng magtanong, kung sasagutin po tayo ng mga platforms na ito. With all our queries. As much as we want to cater your questions, so we had kakaunti na lamang po yung ating oras for our panel discussion. Alam po ninyo, I've prepared several more questions pero hindi talaga kinaya ng atin pong oras dahil naging napakaganda ng atin pong talakayan in order to bridge the gap ng falsity and truth sa atin pong lipunan. Palakpakan naman po natin ang atin pong mga panelists ngayon pong umaga.
Palakpakan din natin si Father Paul. He's been very professional and courteous.
You know what I got from these four in our interconnected world, bridging communities of truth and fighting disinformation, this is really crucial. As men and women of service, particularly in the Catholic Church, in our local churches, in our parishes, in the social communications ministry where we are at, talagang napakahirap po nito. Talagang ito na yung trend ng atin pong lipunan. And by fostering open dialogue just like this, promoting media literacy, and encouraging critical thinking, we can build a resilient society that values truth and integrity. It is essential for individuals, institutions, and technology platforms to collaborate in identifying and countering false information, whether we are at the church, in the government, in the IT department or wherever we are at to ensure that facts prevail over falsehoods. Through these collective efforts, we can protect the integrity of our information landscape and support a well-informed, empowered public. And with that, tayong lahat, let us be authentic influencers for an empowered church. Palakpakan naman po natin ang bawat isa. Thank you po.
Now, may we call on Bishop Juni on stage to hand the token and for the photo opportunity. Again, let us clap our hands for our dear panelists and to Reverend Father Paul Hermano. Again, let's clap our hands to our dear panelists. Okay, now may we request after this one that all our panelists to be gathered there at the center of our stage for a photo opportunity. Let us clap our hands once again for all our panelists together with Father Paul Hermano. Thank you very much to all of you. Truly, as we explore the realm of AI, remember that the true measure of its worth lies not in its code or capabilities, but in how we chose to use it. Whether we wield it for innovation, ethics, or efficiency, AI echoes our decisions and values. It serves as a testament to our collective intentions. How we harness this power speaks volumes about our character and the future we envision. And after we were able to receive a lot of thoughts, now we are going to fill our empty stomachs. Now may we call on Reverend Father Carlo Coloso to bless and lead our prayer for the blessing of the food.